Chris from Don't Let Them Burn. Don't Let Them Burn. This now goes through. It looks like it's steady. I wanted to jump on real quick and talk to you about some things. Trojan horses. Trojan horses. I think Netflix is a Trojan horse. Why do I say that? Well, it's one of the the biggest streaming services around, and now they just penned a deal with the Obamas to produce Marxist content. If you don't know what Marxism is, then you need to go research that. Should have learned that in school. My school didn't teach it, by the way, but I learned it afterwards. But it's something that's important for you to know. And some people are canceling their subscriptions, and not. I don't think everybody's gonna do that, but most people aren't awake to this stuff anyway. They don't even realize that Obama was a Marxist. I mean, if you want to say he was a Muslim, hey, I'm not mad at that, you know. But the Trojan horses, that's a Trojan horse in our home. Netflix, the amount of filth that's coming through that sewage pipe right now is monstrous. There's a show on there, I think it's called 3%, if I'm wrong, if I'm right. 3%, 13%, something like that. Or 13 reasons why. That's what it's called. I never watched it, but there's I guess it's a show about teenage life or whatever, and they I think they depict somebody getting raped with a broomstick, right? Suicides and stuff like that. So, I mean, now remember, this is a I didn't hear that. I didn't see it. Sorry, I missed the comment. But remember now that kids are gonna be watching Netflix too if the parents aren't there to manage that situation. When I was younger, there wasn't much management of what I watched. I watched a lot of stuff on cable at in elementary school. Let's put it like that. That I probably shouldn't have watched. I'm talking about. Remember the movie Excalibur? Had all the occult stuff in it and some nudity. Elementary school kid, I'm watching this, and it left an impact. And also, I can't remember the name of the movie, but there's a movie about a detective that had to investigate this some murders, and he ended up going into this secret society, and they had a lot of orgies going on. It wasn't triple X or anything, obviously, but it was still X-rated in the sense of pornography, perversion. What God wants us to, or I should say, what God wants us not to see. So, I'm just saying that this whole streaming media service deal is a Trojan horse inside your house. I'm not telling you what to subscribe to. That's between you and God, you and yourself, you and your spouse. You know, all I'm saying is be careful. Be careful of that, because it's a serious issue. Netflix, if you look up the information, I'm on the road now, obviously, right? If you look up the information, Netflix has surpassed Disney in some sort of way monetarily. I don't think it's a whole circumference, but go look that up. That information came out last week, I believe, right? And then you got this movie that just came out, Deadpool, which I didn't go to the theater to watch it, but I ended up seeing it anyway. And it's not a movie that I desire to watch. You know, I believe sometimes we gotta heed to the Bible and say, I won't put no evil thing before my eye. And this movie, well, Deadpool, let me tell you, in the comic books, he's really, they have this thing called the anti-hero, and the anti-hero is basically ambiguous in the sense that they're not necessarily good or evil, right? They're the loner, they're the ones that do what they want to do, like sort of like Logan, Wolverine. There are other characters out there like that too. Batman would be, he's considered a hero, but whatever. Anyway, Deadpool is what you can call a closeted homosexual and a borderline pedophile. In the advertisement for the first Deadpool movie, they had the thing there where if you're in the theater that you could have your children sit on his lap, and he wasn't pretending to be Santa Claus. If you know what I mean. So people ignore this stuff, but I pay attention to it. And in the advertisement for the first trailer, let's call it, for the Deadpool 2 movie, you had Ryan Reynolds run up into the phone booth like he was Superman, and he it's not funny. I'm laughing because of just the idiocracy of it. Uh, you could see a split as you change it into this superhero costume. You could see the split of his butt crack. Which man wants to look at that? That's not funny to me. I don't want to look at no man's butt crack. You know, this is the stuff that Deadpool is all about. But Ryan Reynolds, the one that pushed this movie, if you look back, you could find the articles. Look up because he starred in the Amityville Horror remake, and when you look at what he's saying about playing the part, you could tell he was possessed. I'm not saying that because I'm thinking that. Go read the articles. Okay, I don't have it in front of me right now to show you. I'm just trying to do more of these live streams. I know we left you kind of hanging on Tuesday. That's when we usually do our shows. But go look it up. You see how this person, he's not necessarily right in the head, man, or something. But you look at the writing for Deadpool 1, Deadpool 2, and go to the comic books and you see this stuff. It's odd. I'm gonna get to a point in a minute. I'm just thinking it out. Now, in part of the movie, so Juggernaut is in this movie, and he ends up tearing Deadpool apart, ripping him in half, and so Deadpool, he's like Wolverine but a little bit better, and his parts regenerate and stuff like that. And sorry, Domino, one of the new characters from X Force, she had to pick him up and carry him home. And anyway, so he ends up home, and his teammates come to talk to him, and half his body is growing back, right? The bottom half. And I can't remember the name of the lady that with the glasses, the blind lady that takes care of him sometimes. She's looking over. Actually, she's feeling there, and she feels, what she feels, right? So the rest of the group mates come in and they're talking to him, and they're like really surprised at how his legs look as they're growing back, and also his pee pee. So Cable now, he looked like he was the villain of the movie, but he's not. Comes to kind of make a deal with Deadpool, and he's looking down at the same part. This is the whole part of the scene. It's about his bottom piece, and then kind of reconciling with Deadpool to go, should they go kill the kid or not kill the kid, and da 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 da. So there's a scene from this movie called Basic Instincts that Deadpool is about to mimic, where in that movie Sharon Stone was being interrogated by police, and she does this leg movement like she shows, you know, her vagina to the cop so he can get, interested in her, so she could play with his head. So in Deadpool now, Ryan Reynolds, in front of men and women, does the same thing, but in the version I saw, you couldn't really see the whole thing because it kind of cut off. You could see his pee-pee and the little legs, and that he makes that a point to show it to Cable. So dude, he's showing this to. So this is that homosexual stuff I'm talking about. Yeah, he has a girlfriend in the movie. I don't care. She died. Whatever. He's still doing homosexual stuff. I'll give you another instance. And some of this is symbolism, and some of this is dead on. Um, what's the name? Colossus. So what happened in the movie? Near the end of the movie, Deadpool is thrown against a gate by Juggernaut, and he gets impaled in the head by part of the gate. So it looked like he should be dead. He's not dead, obviously. And then Colossus comes in to pick him up, and all of a sudden, romantic music is playing, and he's rubbing Colossus like he's in love with him, and because that's his rescuer. All right, nothing wrong with that. Strange to me. And then you have as they're battling Juggernaut, Megasonic Teenage Warhead and her girlfriend, the lesbian, uh, come to rescue along with Colossus, um, rescue them in the battle against Juggernaut. So anyway, Deadpool now does some sort of flip or whatever and tears down Juggernaut's drawers. You can see his clit, of course, more homosexual stuff. And what he does next, he takes a electrical cable and slams it up Juggernaut's butt. Yeah. And then Megasonic Teenage Warhead, I guess, stole some energy at it, and it lights up, you know, Juggernaut so they could defeat him. Right? There's another part too. This was in the trailer where they're on this this is called a convoy, a big giant futuristic bus convoy that carries mutants to some holding cell or whatever. And Cable comes there and he disrupts the whole thing, and stuff is just going crazy. And then Deadpool is narrating, saying that Cable is about to get a surprise or something like that. He says, and he flips, and his man parts go inside into Cable's face, and that's supposed to be funny. So you look at all these things, and it's what you get from Deadpool. A lot of crude, juvenile, crass humor that to me wasn't funny anyway. Well, I don't know. I'm dead to that stuff. I don't like that stuff. And there's one part that almost made me laugh, but that's almost. So I don't know if you guys saw the movie. I don't recommend it at all, of course. And this is not even a movie review. I don't even want to do a movie review on that. This you can get it from here. This little broadcast here. But if you notice, this is going on all over the place. What he said here? Can't see what he said. A lot of this stuff is going on all over the place. So just bear in mind, you got kids. You take your kids to these sort of movies. It's always indoctrination. Okay. Now, another part that I want to say. Let me see what time it is here. What time is it? All right, I have a few minutes. I want to tell you about. We're being led. The human race is being led by satanic forces, and I'm going to give you a few instances of that. You know, because I guess God has given me the ability to kind of cipher this out by looking at different areas in life and starting to see that a lot of people are just contacting demons to get ahead in life, getting ahead in their careers, get ahead in technology, and all sorts of stuff. We have some stuff to present to you guys about technology, but I didn't want to make every show technology focused. We have many different issues to cover. But here's one. Right? There's a movie out there called The Man Who Knew Infinity or either The Man Who Saw Infinity. And it's about a mathematician, right? When he came from India. He was a young boy, well, not young boy, but, 20 something or whatever it was. And he gets taken to Europe to go to a college. And they were kind of racist there, not wanting to be part of this and part of that, blah, blah, blah. And his professor was an atheist. And he started to warm up into the belief in a God, right? And by the end of the movie, he asks this guy. This is a true story now. It's a true story. I don't know how much they embellished, but they went. He went and asked the dude. He said, "Hey, when did all this start for you?" Because you see, when he came to the college, he wasn't able to translate his mathematics in the right way so that the regular people could understand. Okay, so now he asked him, when did this all start for you? And he basically says, my goddess or my god, it was a female goddess, whatever, Hindu goddess that came and gave him the gift. So this guy wasn't naturally smart. He was endowed with demonic power to figure this out. And he couldn't quantify it enough. And now today we use those techniques in our regular societies. Am I saying math is evil? Obviously not. It's God made everything. So, but what I'm saying is this guy, through his spirituality, got knowledge that he didn't even intend to use for us. But well, however it came about, that's what happened in his life. He died early too. He died of cancer because by the time they figured out everything and he was getting up in the ranks or whatever, he got cancer. And anyway, he went back to India and died. So that's one person. Then you have Operation Paperclip, right? And this is where you get Warner von Braun, and there's other people to talk about, but Warner von Braun, he is one of the guys that helped to create NASA, right? Now you got to go into this guy's life and see what how he was part of the occult system, but I think he got saved later on in his life. So I don't want to say he went to hell or anything, but in this part of his life, we're talking about sex magic with Aleister Crowley, okay, to get that secret knowledge from the spirits. This is why they do the rituals, hidden knowledge. And now we have a thing called NASA, and he's not the only person involved in the creation of NASA. But look into his life. Don't look up just a History Channel documentary. You gotta dig deep in this stuff. And then you start finding the breadcrumbs. Also, you have Tesla. Now, in the comic books, Iron Man is a representation of Tesla. If you look at even in the movies how he's from his father, he got the tech to give better energy sources and all this tech that he's using now. That's basically how Tesla was, but this is a modern telling of kind of that character or whatever. So even in Tesla now, and he had all sorts of stuff going on. I can't think of all of them right now. He was also in contact with spirits. Look into his life, right? We're talking about some big figures here, some big figureheads. Okay. Now, as we talked about before, when we talk about comic books, I can't remember the guy's name right now. Oh my gosh! But remember, we told you about this dude that he helped not create Wonder Woman, but he did a recent Wonder Woman comic, I think a year or two ago. And he said that he smoked a little hash, and the spirits visited him, and they took him up to I think Alpha Centauri or the Pleiades, probably Alpha Centauri. And I mean, I don't believe he actually went there. And he saw the three suns and everything, and they gave him scripts, stories to write in the comic books to bring to us. We're being led, right? Being led by spiritual forces. Even in the Bible, it said a lot of these false teachers are going to come in preaching doctrines of devils. Some translations say doctrines of demons. Okay, so we see back to Ephesians, we don't war against flesh and blood, not against flesh and blood, powers, principalities, spiritual rulers in high places. They're territorial spirits. If you look up this in your web browser, EU EU Parliament poster, something like that. You're gonna see a poster that has 11 stars above the Babylon Tower of Babel, and below that you're gonna see some people with I think some signs or whatever, and that's the unfinished work. That's the unfinished work that the Masons talk about and Illuminati and all this stuff. And when you see the people, they're not gonna look normal. They look kind of blockish, like you know. And you can go ahead and say, hey, well, that's just the style of the artwork. I don't believe so. These people are very intentional when they do things. I believe it's a precursor to transhumanism, where they want to go with humanity. I have a lot of reasons for saying that, but I'm not going to cover that today. Um, Go look up that poster. Then look up the EU Parliament and see that it's not in the same. It's an unfinished building, even though it's finished. It's symbolic to Babylon. Go look that up. The Tower of Babel. Go look that up and see. In fact, there's probably some pictures online that show the same thing. Okay. So I'm just giving you a little tidbit here. I'm over here waiting for church to start, so I'll be going to 6:33. Okay, I'll be going in to start church soon. But think about those things. I have more cases of people being led by spirits. I mean, it's obvious all over the place, but we're talking about big figureheads. I mean, look at Abraham Lincoln's wife. She was into spiritism, seances, and whatever. Then you go and you look at Ronald Reagan's wife. Same thing, into psychic this and psychic that, blah blah blah. And then you look up the notorious Hillary Clinton. There's all sorts of information on her spiritism. All sorts of information. It's not hidden. It's there. There's a book out. I have it at home. I can't remember the name of it right now. I think it's like Secrets Inside um, the Clinton White House or something like that. I can't remember what it's called. So I bought it, but I never finished reading it. I have another book called Hidden Dangers of the Rainbow, right? Which tells you that the rainbow symbol was taken not necessarily for homosexuality. It was taken because it's a bridge from us to Lucifer, spiritism. All this stuff is getting really, when you start to look. Okay, we can see what this says. But when you start to look, you'll see what I'm talking about. I mean, it takes years to find all this information. Looking up Illuminati, that's cool. Looking up, into the Masons, that's cool. It's all a link, But don't stay there. Don't think that that's where you're gonna rest your head. There's too much more information out there. But you have to be able to, bring it back to basics. Bring it back to the Bible, because the Bible is where all the meat. The Bible told us everything. Everything. Today I put on Facebook that you could find Wonder Woman in the Bible. You can find her. Her name is Diana or Artemis, depending on the translation you're reading. Right? It's Acts 19, I think 24 through 35. Right? Go read that. Go see. You'll see. And what you'll find out is that Diana was not just worshipped in temples and, selling figurines and all this stuff. She was worshipped in the theater. And known world at that time worshipped her, the goddess, so called. And what do we have today? We have the resurgence of this goddess in different forms, of course. But Wonder Woman is the representation today to our kids and us as adults. of Diana, Artemis, and she goes by other names, right? Go read it in the Bible. Paul had to deal with this, all right? And what they were doing, they're in the theater and they were making money off of her. When Paul was doing his thing, they were getting angry that they're going to start losing money, that it's going to end. So go check it out. Go read it for yourself. I'm not making anything up, and I'm not making false connections here. I know a lot of people, they don't believe right away. It's okay, but believe in Jesus Christ first, and he'll start showing you some things. We're in an age of information where some of the stuff I know now, it would have took decades to know before, because you have to go buy so many books, and I got books at home, but I listen to a lot of hours of videos, and some of the information I have to toss out, some I kept, and the world is the way it is because of a lot of reasons. And if you don't understand these reasons, you will continually fight each other as Christians, or continually um, be misled by false teachers. False teachers are the ones you need to drop right away, right away. Now, there's some people that aren't necessarily false teachers, but they have false teaching. You got to figure out what you're gonna do with that. There's a thing that says, you know, eat the meat but spit out the bones. Right? The bones obviously is the bad parts. So if you do that, you'll be all right. But don't go to any Creflo Dollars and G.D. Jakes and all these people that just twist the word of God. You know, uh, what's the other lady name? I can't remember right now. But there's a lot of false teachers out there, and the Bible tells us to drop them like hot rocks. you know. So I want to talk more, but I have to head into church and get this good teaching about the Scientology. That's another topic to talk about. That's another. You talk about sex magic. The person that L. Ron Hubbard, his friend, I can't remember his name right now. Is it Jack Parsons or something? Can't remember. Um, had sex magic with Aleister Crowley. Yeah, Scientology's a joke, but it's a serious thing because now they're everywhere now, everywhere. So the world is going to be filled with false religions. It already is, but it's more coming. And then they're going to unite under the UN in Rome probably to form this one world religion, right? I can't see you guys' comments because the sun is glaring me, so I'll read them later. Um, but the one world religion is coming, people. And go back and search. Look up the Catholic meeting that happened in the 80s. I believe it was 1984. Was the first ecumenical meeting um, to create a one world religion. You had snake worshippers, fire worshippers, all sorts of people there. And they had another recent meeting, I believe, either last year or the year before. And then you have the Pope calling all sorts of stuff. You got to search this stuff out, man, because I know the last day started a long time ago, but we're close to the end. I'm not talking about 5, 10 years. I don't know. Only God knows. But we're to know the season. We're to know the season of His coming. You know, a lot of people argue about rapture. I know which side I'm on. I'm pre-trib, but not ashamed of it. Um, so we are to know the season because He commands us to. He called the Pharisees, I believe, hypocrites, hypocrites, because they didn't know the season of His coming in the flesh of man when He came. They couldn't recognize who He was, and then they ended up crucifying Him. But that was God's plan all along. So either way, you can't defeat God. So I gotta go, but in the comment section, just tell me what you think about this whole talk, and also What you got? What would you guys like us to cover? We so many issues, man. So many issues. What would you like us to cover that we haven't covered yet? I know some of you guys wanted to cover the fashion show that went on the other day. It's all a satanic lie, man. Let me tell you. Go look up. Go look up Alice Bailey. Alice Bailey's 10-point charter. Go look that up. And what you'll see in there is that one of the things they need to do to water down society is to um, debase art and make it ugly. That goes from regular art to architecture. That's part of their plans, and that charter was sent to the UN. And all this stuff, this crazy stuff you see going on now, gender neutral this and all this, uh, trans this and trans that, it's all mandates coming from the UN. That's what's going on. You gotta understand this stuff in order, because if you guys are young enough, your kids are gonna deal with this. You know, if you're in your 20s or 30s and you're having kids, your kids are gonna deal with this. We are the last generation to live without. I mean, not without, but that came up without the internet. That came up without cell phones. That came up without all this mess. So now everything that's trying to be made normal will become normal. Believe that. And like God said, it's gonna get crazy. Look up, go do a Bible search from first. I think it's First or Second Timothy. Perilous times will come. Perilous. Look up that word, perilous. See what it means in the original language. It's not. This isn't it yet. It's getting crazy, but this is not it yet. Perilous is gonna be crazy, and we're not even talking about the wrath of God yet. We're talking about perilous times before that even starts. So check that out. And just thank you all for listening. And hey, what's up, Plain Fire? I finally saw one comment. I'll check out your comments later. Leave anything in the background. Like, subscribe, please share. I got an announcement to make soon that I think you guys are gonna like. If you can, give us a donation on Patreon or Fundly. I'm gonna open up a couple more outlets for you guys to give. And if not, just share, share, share. And God bless you guys. And remember, if you're not saved, man, Jesus is the only way. There's only one way to God. That's it. Jesus Christ. That's the gospel. That's the good news. He came, died for your sins. That's it. I'm signing out. Good night. Let's see if I can turn this thing off now.